Isekai has become a massive part of anime nowadays. Chances are, if you're into anime, then you'll probably have at least seen a few isekais, or have heard people talking about it. The concept of an anime protagonist being hit by a truck and reincarnated into another world has basically become a meme now. But how did we get to this point? Well, originally first published as a novel in 2012, Mushoku Tensei was one of the first big isekai to popularize many of the tropes that you see in isekai and fantasy today. At the time, well-known titles today like Konosuba or ReZero were still very new, and so Mushoku Tensei's publication brought with it some very fresh takes on the genre. One of the things that stands out the most about Mushoku Tensei is its protagonist, Rudeus. When we're first introduced to him, Rudeus is not meant to be a likable character, or someone that the viewer wants to relate to. He was a total loser in his previous life, a social outcast who spent his days jacking off to hentai in his room. Upon being reincarnated as a child of the Grey Rat household, he gets a second chance to grow up and slowly works towards changing himself into a better person. This idea of a protagonist doing a total 360 and going from being a loser to complete Giga Chad after you get isekai is still the selling point of the many power fantasies that come out these days. However, what Mushoku Tensei does so well compared to other isekai is showing how flawed but human its characters can be. Going back to Rudeus, when he first gets reincarnated, he's a complete degenerate who enjoys spending his free time stealing underwear and sniffing panties. But as he starts to change, we actually see him get to the point where he's able to take charge and help other people solve their problems. So even if he can act goofy as hell sometimes, I still felt invested in his growth as a character. And while the story is mainly told through Rudeus' perspective, it's a diverse cast of supporting characters that really carries the series. In most of the fantasy anime that come out today, you have your different monsters like the elves, the dwarves, the demons, and the ogres and whatnot. Most of the time, these races just simply exist, and the topic of their background never really gets brought up after they're introduced. But in Mushoku, the characters that I meet often have their own fully fleshed out background stories that define them, which makes them feel so much more real instead of just being cool looking NPCs that show up to help the main characters from time to time. For example, at a certain point in the story, Rudeus meets Ruijerd, a warrior from the Superb tribe, a tribe that is hated by all the other races. He offers to protect Rudeus on his journey in exchange for his help in improving the reputation of the Superb. Despite the two of them initially having huge differences with each other's ways of doing things, they start to change from being around one another. And when they finally part ways at the end of their journey, we get to see how much they've both learned from each other. Even though he's introduced as a supporting character, Ruijerd quickly became one of my favorites, and not only that, just in season 1 alone, there were so many other interesting characters that we only got brief glimpses of, so I'm excited to see more of them in the future. I also think that the way the series approaches the progression and power of its characters is very well done. Without going into too much detail, in the world of Mushoku Tensei, there are many different ways of combat, such as using sword styles and magic. Rudeus, who primarily uses magic, starts off at the beginner level, and we get to see his growth as he quickly becomes a powerful magic user, who is capable of doing things that most other people can't. However, while Rudeus is a very capable magician, it never feels like he's extremely overpowered, unlike many other isekai protagonists. There are some types of magic that he's not very skilled in, and he still struggles in physical combat against others. And at some points in his story, he faces an opponent he can't beat, so he has no choice to accept his loss and learn from it. And I think this realistic approach to world building is the most defining aspect of Mushoku Tensei. There is an incredible amount of depth to even its combat system, and there always seems to be someone who is a step above Rudeus in strength that we've yet to meet. And that's what makes it so exciting to follow, because all it takes is one good turning point in the story to completely flip the story on its head. So basically what I've been getting at here is that it's not surprising that we've seen many fantasy series take aspects from Mushoku Tensei, given how well written it is. Up until this point, I've mainly talked about the storytelling of Mushoku Tensei since it was originally a novel. So, should you watch the anime? Short answer, yes. Long answer, Mushoku Tensei is hands down one of the best adaptations of any anime I've seen. It was made by Studio Bind, a studio that was originally formed with the sole intention of adapting the show. Watching this, it's clear that they went all out on the adaptation to make the viewing experience as good as they possibly could. With season 1's 6 different openings dedicated to showing off the different settings, the anime wastes no time in getting the viewer immersed in its world. And of course, it goes without saying that the animation is extremely detailed and well done. For such a unique series, they have definitely seemed to have done the original source material justice so far with the first season. Well, since season 2 is airing now, we'll see if what I just said ends up being poorly aged. And that was the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.